Welcome to the Drive Home, everybody. I'm Davis Rankin, along with Roxanne Garcia, and we're live in Brownsville, more specifically at the IBC Bank in Brownsville. And this is also being brought to you by Total Imaging Solutions of McAllen in South Texas. Big news. Big economic driver is landing in Brownsville with the potential to ripple its way through the Valley economy, not just the lower Valley economy, but throughout the Rio Grande Valley. A big manufacturing plant is coming to town along with a foundry. And there has not been a foundry established in the U.S., we don't think, for 30-plus years. So this is a groundbreaker, not just for Cameron County, but also for the Rio Grande Valley and for Texas. So stay with us. I was just telling our guest, Jason Hildes of the Brownsville Economic Development Council. Is it council? Sit up to that microphone that our biggest challenge when we do an on-location broadcast or remote is to manage the traffic, the hither and coming and going and getting everything done. Jason Hildes has been with the EDC here, the Economic Development Engine, for how long?
For 14 years now as president.
Are you a Brownsville native?
I'm a Detroiter.
Are you a Tigers fan?
I am a Tigers fan.
I have to say before we start, though, Jason, I went to the stadium 2 years ago, one of the best stadiums I've ever been to. And I'm a Dodgers fan, but that Tiger Stadium blew me out of the water. Anyway, back to Brownsville.
For all, never mind. So you got this. How long have you all worked on SATA Group?
Well, the SATA project started almost 4 years ago, and it started with a lead from the Governor's Office for Economic Development.
Really? Mm-hmm. So somebody contacted them.
They were contacted. The state was contacted, and then through their process, they sent out requests for proposals throughout the state. We responded, and then sometime after that, we got a call and said, "Hey, this group, Project Sizzle, wants to come to Brownsville and learn more about the community."
Mm-hmm. Now, this was a request that SATA put in to the state of Texas first.
That is correct.
Do you know why Texas?
Well, you know, their customer was pushing them to go to Mexico.
Mm-hmm. The customer is
one of their major customers.
Holt or John Deere?
Caterpillar, some other clients. They would prefer that they would have been in Monterrey, Mexico. And so they looked at Texas. They looked at some other locations because they also do a lot of automotive work. So they're looking at southeast the United States. So they were looking at, I believe, some 30 different sites before they narrowed it down between Brownsville and Monterrey.
Why was Monterrey appealing to Caterpillar?
Caterpillar has a very large presence in
Mexico,
in Monterrey, right? And so some logistics savings would be realized by being next to their facilities.
SATA is 100 years old, more than 100 years old.
More than 100 years old. It's actually, the folks we have in town today are the fourth generation of the company.
Wow.
Whoa.
So they've been around a long time and a lot of stability.
And they bring some sophistication to site selection.
Yes, they do. Jason is operating without notes, so we'll take that into account. How many different countries are they in? Do you know? They have 3 facilities in Italy. They're based out of northern Italy by Turin. They're in China. They're in India. They're in Brazil. They are in
Argentina.
Argentina. And now,
I'd love to talk to him about Argentina.
Yeah. Well, today they're a global company.
I was talking, if you go to their website, which is SATA, S-A-T-A, not to be confused with the Azorian airline. There is a SATA group, which is an airline group, but SATA-group.com, they have a list of their customers. They include Alfa Romeo, Borg Warner, Eaton Chrysler, GM, Magnet Marelli, which I think they were called Marelli before, Mercedes, and Tata. Now, Tata, there is a Mr. Tata in India. And the reason I remember this, Jason, he was going to bring his cars over here. They make cars in India.
Do.
And they say that they are, an Indian guy said, yeah, they were not very attractive, but they ran.
Right.
And he was going to bring a truck over, and I never saw the truck.
They're kind of like the old Yugo car.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to know, Jason, whenever you have people that don't really know the big of an impact manufacturing has to a region or to a state or even here in the Valley, what would you tell to someone that says, whatever, it's just a manufacturing job? How is that going to benefit me if I live in Edinburgh or McAllen or anywhere in the Valley? What would you tell them?
Well, there's always a economic ripple effect when an investment is made. So you look at a manufacturing company and the types of manufacturing they do, something like this, for every one job created, there could be 2.5, 3 more jobs created throughout the region. Would it be a supplier It could be people working in hotels and restaurants, construction, what have you. So manufacturing jobs tend to have a much higher ripple effect than, say, a retail operation. They create other opportunities in the community, in the region.
What do you think it was that got them to choose Brownsville over Monterey? Which is quite a coup if you think about it.
Well,
Monterey's an industrial hub.
I mean, we've asked that of them. Even their customers were, pushing hard for them to go to Monterey.
That's crazy, because as a business, sorry for interrupting you, I would think I would listen to my customers, but they just decided, hey, we're going to Brownsville.
Well, the thing is, they have a very good working relationship with their customer. They travel with them around the globe where they have operations. They have operations. And so they also trust their supplier. And the supplier in SATA basically was saying, there's some stability by being here in Texas. By being in Brownsville, we can easily service Monterey. We have our deep sea port. We have an overweight corridor. We own our own electrical company. Our electrical costs are less than Mexico. Then we can also service other customers from this area. If you're in Monterey, maybe you'd be perceived as captive to one client. Yeah. Where here, it gives them a more open opportunity to service more people.
Where are they going to be sited, and how large a plant footprint is the manufacturing facility?
They're going to be on the north side of town on 511, which is the 550 corridor. It's basically a 25-acre site. They have plans for several facilities out there. The first facility will be about 150 to 200,000 square foot of space.
How many acres did you say?
25 acres to start.
What's this? We're jumping around. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Roxanne.
When are we going to start seeing construction?
Probably will see construction sometime before the end of the year. Oh. They're already in a temporary facility. They've leased out. They've had people in training in Brazil from the Brownsville area that have come back. They are going to start putting parts out sometime in June. So they have a temporary facility already running.
What do they make?
They're a value-added company, and which means is that they receive foundry products, and they do machining. They add value to that, increase the value, and they turn around and send that down to their customers in Monterey or here in Texas. It could be engine blocks. It could be rods. It's all kinds of materials could be produced.
Martin Randall said engine blocks, and I thought, he didn't know what he's talking about. Martin did. So this stuff will go into Mexico, and where do you think?
In terms of
the finished product, the product whose value has been added,
will go into heavy equipment. Could it be a backhoe? It could be earth moving equipment.
They don't make their own branded equipment.
No, sir. They're value added.
Okay. Where does talk about us about the foundry, and where does the raw product come from that goes into the foundry?
Well, understand that SATA does not have a foundry. Okay, they use foundry products. This whole project we're working on brings several companies together, one being a foundry. Okay, and the whole plan is that the foundry will locate right next to SATA.
Well, their website said they have a company with which they operate, they partner with, a separately owned company, apparently.
They have, in India, they do some castings, but in terms of a true foundry, they don't own. All right, but we're bringing some other investment in that's going to do the foundry work.
You're being elusive, Jason.
That's part of my job. It's economic development.
Who owns the foundry, doggone it?
It's another European company.
I want to ask you before last question, how do local colleges feed into this? How do you think?
Well, the TSC, TSTC, they have machining programs. And so a lot of their students will have an opportunity to work in a company like this. And I know there's some new initiatives with the talent supply development. And so they're all going to have a role in making this project work and other projects.
I would think that people up the valley would also be interested, but for another day. Jason Hildes, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
This is made possible, too, by Total Imaging Solutions, headquartered in McAllen, and their vice president is with us, and he is uniquely qualified, I think, to talk a little bit about what this might mean, because although Martin is now an American, he hails from England, and worked, Poland, Mexico, ran facilities
all over the world.
in England.
I've worked in 46 countries around the world. Yes.
Have you really?
Yes, sir, I have.
He was
Are you
telling
just
me
one
that.
step ahead of the...
The Border Patrol.
So, have you ever worked? This is going to be you work in a clean business, right? Imaging copiers. That's a clean business. This is not going to be a clean business. This is the old-fashioned, get your hands dirty kind of manufacturing.
Yes, so for 16 years I worked for a machine tool company, so we were involved with foundry work, fettling, machining, cast iron castings, cast iron aluminium, steel cast iron, bronze, machine, all of those type of parts. So I've been involved in that from 82 to 1997. And just, it's really good to see that manufacturing is coming to Brownsville. It's good that seeing it's coming to the Valley. Manufacturing really is the pulse of any country and certainly any region.
Obviously, the people who get work there are going to get that benefit. Is there any spin-off benefit that you see into the community for other businesses?
Well, there's huge spin-off. I mean, if you have employees that are working in facilities, there's obviously homes and cars and restaurants and, dry cleaners. I mean, take a business like ours. We sell 3D printers, and hopefully at some point they're going to do some research and development here. Maybe they'll buy a 3D printer off me.
You speak Italian?
I don't speak Italian, no. I hardly speak American.
Let's, the group, by the way, we should tell people it's SATA Group. S is in Sam, A, T is in Tom, A, and they're headquartered in Torino, outside Torino, northwest of Italy, which is the industrial heart of Italy, is it not?
That's a massive engineering area. That is the industrial area. I've worked in Milan, which is not far from there, and that whole area is big machine tool area, big castings, foundries.
And now
machines that are under $1,000, and we have machines that will print titanium, or stainless steel. We can print wax so that you can produce lost wax process of casting. So that's, again, that falls into micro foundry type situations where you are producing the part out of wax, investment casting it, heating the casting up, the wax melts away, and then you pour molten metal into that. So again, we have machines that will produce the actual positive wax part.
I thought they just did that lost wax stuff in jewelry making. I didn't know it was used other ways.
It's used in all sorts of ways. You can produce all sorts of parts out of wax, any size that you really want. You have to have a master at some point to be able to produce you the cavity. On most cast iron castings, that's going to be a wooden pattern that's pressed into a silica sand base, and then when that dries out, you then pour the cast iron into that, and the cavity after you've taken the wooden positive.
You have job possibilities now for kids who are not going to be Spanish majors or these are job possibilities with great wages and benefits, apparently.
That's a question I wanted to ask Gilbert, was the fact that do you think, even you, Mr. Randall, that a lot of the schools here locally, TSTC, UTRGV, STC, are going to now start certain curriculum, certain courses to open the door for students that want to maybe work in these jobs?
They really need to. I mean, typically over the years, if you look at the way manufacturing plants run, they run with apprenticeship programs. You're looking at technical colleges. You're looking at people that aren't necessarily or wouldn't do necessarily very well at a university. They are not the people that are going to be university type engineers, but they will be an engineer. I mean, the word engineer comes from the train driver, an engineer that would run a train. It's a person that is good with their hands. They're going to be someone that you can teach to mill or turn or bore using those type of products. Teach them how to use CNC machining and change tools, understanding setup. These aren't university jobs. These are technical college jobs. Very, very important. Very important jobs. Skilled jobs, yes.
Yeah. And this is it. This is going to...
Well, you look at all the things that are happening here in Brownsville. Like we've said before, SpaceX, the LNG, there's 3 that wants to build here. And then now this is manufacturing company. It's just that if I were a business, I would probably want to come here and be the first ones down here, because you're going to need some place to go eat. You're going to need hotels. You're going to need gas stations. You're going to need all these things.
We know 2 Italians who run a restaurant up in McAllen.
Italian restaurants for an Italian company.
They're really Italians. One's from Corsica. No, one's from Sardinia, right? And the other's from... But I digress.
Obviously, most of the people they're going to be looking at down here is to get the employees, the workforce from the local area. and they'll be getting those local workforce people from the local schools and the local technical colleges. This is something that they are talking about, a 10-year plan. This goes on generations. This is something they've been working on for 4 years, and they're manufacturing in a facility that is not theirs. They're building their facility, they're growing, and they're expanding, and it will expand exponentially.
Martin Randall, thank you very much for helping make this broadcast possible. We certainly appreciate it. He is one of the owners of and vice president of Total Imaging Solutions, McAllen in South Texas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gilbert Salinas is with us. He is with the Brownsville Economic Development Corporation. You're vice president?
Executive vice president,
Executive vice president. Well, are you energized or tired out by all this?
All of the above.
I want to know, how long have y'all been awake? What time did y'all wake up today?
Great question. 3 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
And before that, personally myself, I was in Austin. It was a quick day trip, so the day before I got up at 3 in the morning as well. But it's okay. I mean, this is economic development, and it's for the future of this great city that we call Brownsville and the Rio Grande Valley as well.
The Chinoto family, fourth generation owners of a machining company, what their website calls a mechanical machining company, components for the automotive industry. Their plants are sited in Brazil, in Argentina, in India, in China. A couple of locations, I think, in Italy, including their home in the Piedmont area in northwest Italy, and they chose you guys.
They sure did.
What sweet words did you whisper in their ear, Gilbert?
In addition
we have tacos.
In addition to great dialogue and of course great food, we were one of 30 locations being considered when they started the process almost 3 years ago, and they were looking at the southeast, the Texas coast, and then also northern Mexico. And in the end, it came down to Brownsville, Texas. About a year ago, it was between Brownsville, Texas, and northern Mexico. And as you can imagine, I mean, Monterrey is very development ready, savvy, and they threw everything at it. They really did not want to lose this project, and we stepped up. And I will say that it started at the community level, the support that we got here across the board, state level, the governor's office through the Texas Enterprise Fund, the overall incentives package. They were able to help the Brownsville area in that regard for this project. And then also Select USA, that is the initiative that was started
agency?
Yes, by President Obama, which is a firm, an agency that helps economic development groups recruit foreign direct investment. And the owner of the company out of Italy, Mr. Chinotto, he received a call when it came down to Brownsville, Monterrey. He received a call from Secretary of Commerce Penny Pritzker, who said made a case for bringing his company into the U.S., not Mexico, to introduce those jobs into the U.S. Went through several reasons why to invest in the United States, and then came down to Brownsville, Texas. She said, "This is where you need to be. This is the future. It's a logistics manufacturing hub. I've been there." And you have my full support, and you have the President Obama's full support for your investment in Brownsville, Texas.
I want to know, will some of the components built here travel into Mexico for final assembly, or where is final assembly and of what?
It's for northern Mexico. They will be producing components in the near future. They'll be producing components for Caterpillar, and that'll be the engine blocks and the engine heads, massive components for their earth movers that will be built and assembled and distributed around the world. So Caterpillar is an OEM. They're the big leagues, so this is a tier 1 company.
What's OEM mean?
It's basically an automotive plant.
Okay.
And the big plants.
And that's what they've
Original
done.
equipment manufacturer.
I think of it as stock.
Yeah. And they are out of Turin, Italy, which is where Fiat is at, and that's how they cut their teeth doing work for Fiat. Yeah, they still are a major provider for Fiat. And out of the Brownsville operation, they will be churning out the disc brakes for all GM trucks. So now moving forward, any GM truck in the United States, or for that matter, North America, we can proudly say that Brownsville, Texas contributed to that, to the final assembly of that product.
The water needed for the foundry, which is not owned by SATA Group, but which is owned by another company, another European company, Jason Hildes said, it, I think cooperates with or functions along with SATA. Don't they need a lot of power, electricity, or gas, and then water? How does this work?
Exactly. So there's 5 components to this project that we're calling Project Sizzle. And the first one that needed to happen was a machining operation. And these 5 components will be staggered over a period of 10 years in increments of 2 years. So in the next year to 2 years, we'll have a foundry that would be locating next to the machining operation. And this would be the first vertically operated machining foundry operation here in North America. And that's exactly what both Caterpillar and John Deere are looking for to bring their costs down. After that, we would be looking at a forging operation, aluminum die cast, and then a set of plastic injection molders, of course, a distribution center, and an apprenticeship program as well, with actual bricks and mortar facility to support the pipeline of human capital. So when it's all said and done, it has a potential to create upward of 3,000 to 4,000 jobs. When it comes to energy, a project, when you combine these different components, yeah, they can guzzle up between 200 to 400 megawatts of power. Just to kind of give you a perspective as to how much energy that is, the city of Brownsville proper uses about 250 megawatts of power.
You talk about all these jobs, and I want to ask you, has SATA told you what requirements they're looking for if I wanted to apply and work for them or be a part of the manufacturing job?
From the beginning, they're going to need some technicians. I know they've already started looking at engineers, and they've asked us for a list of engineers, and we provided a list, and they came back and they said, okay, do you have more? And we're trying to see if we can find more. So, you know, unfortunately, the Rio Grande Valley is not at a point that can handle some of these projects comfortably. That being said, there is a plan in place. We are working with a local universities, that is, as well as community colleges.
There's only one, dude. UTRGV.
There's a presence of
Texas Southwest College, Incarnate Word.
No,
Howard Penn.
So other universities throughout the state.
I tried.
Other universities throughout the state that are now calling us up and saying, how can we help with human capital?
You mean like Texas A&M McAllen? Whoop.
It's just
you people, you're so frustrating. Is a good question from Sergio Sanchez, who is magnetized by. I mean, he literally is just, and I think I've caught the fever. The possibilities, which I have a hard time vocalizing, seem to me to be staggering. He says, is the foundry, the ability to cast metal, hadn't been done in more than 30 years. Is that going to be drawing other kind of companies who wouldn't have come here before because they didn't have this?
Well, I'll go back to CK Technologies, a large plastic injection molder for Mack Trucks and Navistar out of Monterrey, also a Tier 1 supplier to the OEMs in northern Mexico. In 2012, when they came in, it proved that that you can operate on the north side of the Rio Grande and service your clients in Mexico successfully.
Gilbert Salinas is with the Brownsville Economic Development Council, and he has been hip deep, neck deep in getting the SATA Group to
have
come.
No questions.
Well, we don't have any time.
I know. Next time, Gilbert.
Hey, I see a follow-up interview. What do you think?
Maybe we can keep it until
Too many questions and not enough time to get them answered. So, quite seriously. You're listening to The Drive Home on 710 KURV. I'm Davis Rankin along with Roxanne Garcia. Our show this afternoon is made possible by Total Imaging Solutions, from whom we'll hear in a moment. And we are also hosted by IBC Bank in Brownsville. And this is, you could get every other branch of IBC and the main facility in Brownsville in this bank. It is one of the biggest facilities I've been in. And Al Villarreal is here. He is vice president. No, you're president for IBC Cameron County.
Well, I'm actually senior executive vice president, but was fortunate enough to be appointed president coming in September 1st.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What role, if any, did IBC play in this, and what role do you hope the bank will play going?
Oh, very, very good question. IBC Bank has always been a very big supporter of economic development on the border. I'm sure you're aware that we were founded in the border. We're celebrating our 50-year anniversary.
We're in the Tony Sanchez suite.
The Tony Sanchez and the Tony Sanchez Raul Bistedo suite. All right. And so we're celebrating our 50-year anniversary this year. And since, unlike many other super regional financial institutions, we were founded on the border, so I think we have a true appreciation for the challenges that we have here in the investment. I was very honored to serve on the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation board for approximately 3 years, and during my tenure, this project was actually introduced in its infancy. That's how long. Everyone says we've been working on this for 4 years. Well, we were there at the very beginning when this possibility was before us, and now I can't believe that it's actually here. It's going to be a tremendous benefit to the whole area.
I do want to ask you something. Maybe people don't really think about it, but what do you foresee when it comes to IBC Bank in the banking world because of how huge this manufacturing company is going to be? Do you see, like, as a banker, what comes to mind? Like more business here in the bank? There's going to be more people here in the bank. What do you foresee? Okay.
The bank, any bank, is only as strong as its community. If the community is growing, if it's thriving, educational levels are increasing, wages are increasing, then the bank is going to increase. But if the opposite is true, then the bank is going to really suffer. The bank depends on its customers' deposits in order to make strategic investments in small businesses and medium-sized businesses so that we can help facilitate this growth. So it really is very tied. That's how come we're very involved in the community and education and investing our time sitting on these developmental boards and things of that nature.
You all have a long relationship, IBC does, in Mexico and cross-border banking. Is it any different banking into Brazil, their SATA Group's facility in Brazil, or back to headquarters in Italy? Does it make any difference?
Well, no, it doesn't make any difference. I think the thing about this facility, from what I learned this morning, as everyone else did, that in Brownsville, we're going to be the headquarters for their North American operations. And so that's a big plus.
Thank you for watching us here on 710 KORV. Davis Rankin, Roxanne Garcia, live from the IBC Bank Cameron County branch in headquarters, I should say, in Brownsville. The broadcast brought to you as well by Total Imaging Solutions in McAllen and South Texas. We've been talking about the SATA Group, the privately owned Italian machining company coming to Brownsville along with a foundry. A big economic news for Brownsville, for Rio Grande Valley, for South Texas. Thank you for watching.